Unpopular opinion.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another edition of Kopi with Chris. I'm your host, Chris Henson. I hope you all have your coffee ready because I certainly do. Today, we'll be talking about an industry that's been heavily impacted during this COVID-19 pandemic. And that industry is the food and beverage industry. At the beginning of our circuit breaker in Singapore, we saw many complaints online about how these restaurants and bars were going to cope during this period of downtime. And just only yesterday, there was a news report that the iconic Modestos restaurant at Orchard Rendezvous will be closing down after 23 years in business. And there are hundreds more just like this one. So today we speak to some key players in this industry about their journey during the circuit breaker. And right now we're going to bring our guests on. So let's welcome our first guest to the show, and it's Ashta. Hello, Ashta.
Hello.
And welcome to Kopi with Chris. I hope you got your cup of coffee ready. Oh, my Kopi cookies. Oh, that's a nice cup. What's that on there? Okay, love. Love that too. Ashta, can you tell our viewers and our listeners about yourself and what you do?
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Ashta. I am actually a photographer.
Really?
Yes.
Someone from the F&B business, Kevin. We've got a photographer now. That's kind of unusual.
I do both. Mainly photography. My parents have been running restaurants, Madras New Woodlands, which is it's been there for 35 years or more.
It's quite an icon, huh?
Yeah. So we've had that, and then we've also got another outlet, which is Madras New Woodlands Ganga. So we've got two outlets. And so I'm just helping them go from a very traditional business into a business where we're embracing technology and going online and trying to come up with innovative ways to survive during.
So you're a transformation agent, yeah?
I hope so.
That's cool. Anyway, your restaurant chain. I remember my producer for this show was saying that since he was a kid, it's been a go-to place for his comfort food.
Yeah.
And it's well known. I remember that place. I remember your place really, really well. Okay, can we bring on our next guest? Hello, Agir. Welcome to Kopi with Chris. Have you got your cuppa ready?
It's right here. It's ready.
Awesome. Yeah. Hang on a second. That looks like the same cup. Can I take a look at that cup?
Yeah, sure.
Almost, man. Oh, yours is Spider-Man. Okay. I'm just wondering I thought, my goodness, coincidences. All my Kopi kakis holding the same kind of cup except me. Anyway, welcome to the show.
I got to put Hokkien Mee as well.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thanks for making all of us hungry now at this hour. But anyway, thanks for coming on the show. Can you tell our audience, our listeners and viewers more about yourself and what you do?
So I'm Agir. I run a company called Creative Insurgents, and basically what we do is we raise funds to operate, run, manage, and market F&B outlets. We currently own 2 Mexican joints. One's in the CBD, which is at 1 Marina Boulevard. The other one is in Little India, Dunlop Street, Chimichanga. And the third property we run is Get Juice, which is a club in Clarke Quay.
Okay, Get Juiced, huh?
Yeah. So it's a cashless club. Yeah, sorry.
It's all cashless. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. What do you mean by cashless?
So you basically download an app. You come on in and you use the app to purchase your drinks. And when your drinks are ready, you just pick it up from the bar.
Right. And may I ask, is it your own proprietary app or?
Yeah, it's a Get Juice app, proprietary. We have about 60,000, or we used to have 60,000 users because currently the app can do very little, right?
Okay. We'll talk more about that later on. Okay. Yeah. Yep. All right. And don't stop yourself from the Hokkien Mee. Yeah? Please, by all means, indulge. We are, after all, having Kopi together, so that doesn't mean we can't eat. Just go right on ahead. And that was Agir. And let's bring on our next guest. Connecting the audio right now, we have.
Hello.
Eupness. Hi, Eupness.
Okay.
Hi. Thanks for being on our show. Ed, I was just about to say, do you have your coffee, but you're having tea, huh?
Sorry?
You're having tea.
No, actually, we're coming up with new drinks to serve to our customers. We're tasting right now, actually.
And we're doing tasting right now. You lucky man. And what is it exactly you're tasting?
We are working with, to be honest, with salted fish tincture.
I'm sorry. Can you run that by me again?
Salted fish tincture.
So,
Salted fish.
now I've heard it all, man. Salted fish.
Found in Little India, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. And how does it taste?
It tastes good. It tastes very very salty, to be honest. Very umami based. Yep. So
Umami based.
still on a R&D process, actually.
Well, please do develop the darn thing, man. I might just order it though. I'm a teetotaler.
Thank
The
you.
wife should give it a try because the wife's the only one that drinks in the house.
Oh, okay.
This face has got a face of a person who drinks a lot of alcohol, but believe you me, I don't. But it doesn't mean I discourage anyone from doing so.
Teetotaler, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for being on, man. Can you tell us more about what you do and the outlets you have?
I only have one outlet. Thank you. Basically, I own the Elephant Room. We are located in Chinatown. Well, basically, we are a cocktail bar that's inspired by Singapore's Little India. So every drink that we do is based on Little India. We only make use of spirits from India only. You walk into our bar, you won't see bourbons or scotch. You only see whiskeys from India, gins from India, and rum from India.
Right. And you're located in Chinatown.
We're located in Chinatown.
Wow, drinks out of Little India, or what you can find, anything is from Indian spirits, but located in Chinatown.
Yes, correct. We wanted to create a different wave of traffic. We didn't want to be a destination bar. We
Right.
wanted to be a bar where you can just walk in and if you're nearby Chinatown and it's accessible. When we looked at the business flow, we thought Chinatown would be better, and of course the rent was much more affordable for me.
Okay, that's fair. Thanks, Eunice, for being on the show. I'm glad that you have your beverage with you, and that's your choice beverage. I still have my Kopi O Kosong, and it's running dry very soon. The wife just got me something. Actually, fat burning coffee just came in the mail. Things people think of. Okay, I just saw you sipping up on something else. What was that?
I drink a lot of water, actually.
Best beverage ever, right? Water, right? H2O, good old H2O.
Cocktails, I get high very fast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, man. I'm pretty sure.
I can't afford to get tipsy, so I mean, like water is.
No, but please get a little high on the show. I kind of welcome that.
No.
Thank you very much, Eunice. We've got one more final guest to bring onto the show, and this gentleman is Michael Liu. He is an icon in the F&B industry. Let's bring Michael on. Hello, Michael. Thanks for coming on, Kopi. Chris, you got your. Everyone else has got their beverage. Have you got yours going?
Sure.
And I wonder what's in that tumbler. What is in that tumbler?
Well, actually, I have two drinks. To be honest, I have tea, whiskey.
What a combination. Well, never too early in the day, isn't it, huh? Anyways, this, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Liu is an icon, seriously, in the F&B industry. Michael, could you please tell everyone what you're about?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've been in F&B business for about 20 years or so, I think. Being involved in everything from nightlife business to cafes to restaurants with Michelin star chef.
Wow.
Concerts. We've done concerts and live events. So we've covered the spectrum, food production, food distribution as well. But over 20 years, there's a lot you can do. So anyway,
Yeah, pretty sure 20 years is quite a long time to be in one place,
yeah.
in one sector of work.
Bye.
Yeah, and thank you for being on Kopi with Chris. As a matter of fact, thank you everyone for being on my show. I really don't like to do this because the first episode that we had on the show was about the event and entertainment industry, and we had the luminaries of that industry on board, and we were talking about doom and gloom, but that's how we're going to start off because it's not doom, it's just gloom. Let's put it that way. Yeah. It's been reported that about 8,000 businesses closed down during this circuit breaker period. So basically, places like Modestos, Modestos has been around for what, 20 plus years? 23 years to be exact. And they're closing down, you know. And in this particular instance, taking that as an example, maybe some other established joints that are going to be shuttered or have been shuttered. Michael, what do you think? Would you have done the same?
Well, I really can't comment on their situation, but I'm sure they have very good reasons to do what they did. It's clearly not an easy time for well, most businesses, not just in F&B, obviously. Yeah, I mean, different businesses in different locations with different concepts have different challenges. Even within the F&B business, it can be completely different. There are people who are really suffering with next to no business at the moment, and clearly there are people, and this is rare, who are doing better than before COVID. So, you know, I think certainly something to look at and to think about.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I really like to hear about that. If you know of anything, you know, or any establishment that's really clearly doing better than before COVID started, it would be nice to hear about that. But for now, I'd like to ask you, Nes,
Yep.
how has this circuit breaker period, this I won't call it a lockdown, that's wrong to say, this particular slowdown that we've got, how has it impacted you?
Couple of good ways and bad ways. Bad ways is that we already saw the sales was dipping down gradually by month. We saw that the walk-ins were getting lesser, the reservation was getting lesser, and we were like, okay, there's going to be a very big bad storm coming, and we were like, okay, what are we going to do about it? As they announced on the circuit breaker, we were like, okay, we have to do something about it. We have to carry on do something that we have never done before, which is actually delivery of cocktails and food. And delivery of our cocktails was something that we have never done before. So we managed to find a solution very fast. We came up with like a couple of business adaptabilities where we run through our costings again, and to make it much more approachable to the guests. And we realized it was a bit of a success for us because we in the span of 1 month, we had a huge numbers of new followers on our Instagram. We had new customers, became first-time buyers, and then they became regulars of our drinks as well. We reworked on digital marketing because we can't able to invite people to try our drinks. So we talked to a few professionals and advisors who give us tips on how to make use of the digital media platform. And from there, we kickstarted it. We worked on a couple of our media platforms, and that we realized that even in there's a lot of cocktail bars been doing delivery of cocktails, but to make it something more different, I looked at other businesses, you know, like for example, how can we change the label of the design to make it much more attractive? These are small things that we looked at, and it made a big impact for us during this COVID-19. It shows us to like not only think about just to deliver and sell the cocktails, but also to think from the customer's point of view. I mean, like, how much can they afford to buy the drinks? What are the other experiences can we give to the guests? Yeah.
Has this? Can you safely say that, you know, that you've transformed things, or you tried to adapt to this slump, right? But the thing is that can you safely say that it's still business as usual for you?
Business is not as usual for me, you know, but I'm glad that we are still going on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is still somewhat of a slowdown.
Yeah, there is
a juncture.
Slowdown. Yeah, there is a slowdown, but we're not as progressive as previously, but it's still on a day-to-day basis. We have customers ordering our drinks, getting our food in as well. So we are glad that it's still able to continue on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. And how has this impacted your workforce, the guys, your staff has been working for you?
We are still running on the same team manpower as we started off before. Actually,
Wow.
we got in more part-timers because the bar doesn't look like a bar now. It looks like a production factory. So glad that we have very good team who's able to understand the company's situation right now. We have delegated a few jobs. Some of our staff is able to do new things like on a rapid manner. Like we have a very good staff here. She has never done like ordering system, but overnight process, she came out with like simple, seamless ordering platform for the guests. So we have done that. We have on top of that, once we have delivered cocktails, we also keep in touch with the guests. How's the drinks? Is there anything you can do better? So we are thinking of customer service in a very different manner, in a very digital manner.
I think and that's inspiring, really. I mean, to be able to even keep your workforce, you keep your staff around, and still keep, they still have a job, right? And you actually cross-train them, or basically they took it upon themselves, to be able to just hold your own in your establishment. I think it's marvelous.
Thank you so
Absolutely marvelous. Really, it's good. It's inspiring. Agir, how about you? How has things changed for your business since Circuit Breaker?
So we have two different businesses. Of course, the club's totally closed. It doesn't look like it's going to open anytime soon. So that's been quite painful. And the problem is a club is very atmosphere-based, right? You need people. People want to come out. People want to drink. People want to party. They want to be on the dance floor. So although when we initially started, we thought it would be a bit shorter. So we tried to do virtual DJs. But as time went by, attendance for the virtual DJ show started to drop. So we eventually scrapped that idea. We're just doing our best to try and get in touch with customers, but customers constantly asking when the club's going to be open, whether they can celebrate their birthday there, and so forth and so on. So that aspect of the business is a big what if and what is going to happen. So that's that. In terms of our CBD joint, we have totally shuttered that outlet because it's right in the heart of the CBD. It's by Marina Bay. No one's going to work, and not enough people live there to warrant just delivery for the area. Our Little India place, we've actually done deliveries up to 2 a.m., 7 days a week. So that's been doing very, very well for us. So it's again, like you said, it's like a production line now. So people call in at noon and we take in orders. We do lobster bowls, we do kani asada steak bowls, all the way till 2 a.m. We've harnessed local taxi drivers, partnered them to do island-wide deliveries for flat rate. So that's been actually very positive. Business has been fairly good for that outlet alone.
Right. Okay, for that outlet. But what are your plans for the other two moving forward?
I think it's a lot of a wait and see game. Basically, Michael said, the problem with landlords, right, is they are also waiting and seeing. So they initially gave you like in the case of Capital Land, they initially gave us the 1 month rent free, and then now they've issued the 2nd month rent free. But moving forward, we don't know what's going to happen in June, and there are no guarantees by a landlord whether they're going to kick in the rental or not. So it's very difficult. So moving forward, we are constantly just being in touch with them. In terms of the CBD place, it's they are actually trying to charge us rent for this month, even though we're closed, and we are in negotiations with them to try and say waive this month's rent or reduce the rental till we can fully open. But the problem is landlords don't really care. They have your 5-month rental deposit. They'll just deduct it, and then eventually lease your place out to someone else.
Yeah, so really, I can imagine the pain. Yes, I can imagine the pain. I mean, landlords. Ooh, okay, we'll talk about landlords later on. Ashta, how has this circuit breaker impacted your family business?
So we, Madras Woodlands and Madras Woodlands Ganga, it's a very old school traditional business. So not much online presence, or we don't do delivery or anything. So the minute this whole situation happened, it was also a time where all the other restaurants are trying to get onto delivery platforms. So we went to the big three like Message, Foodpanda, Deliveroo, Grab Food, and there was nothing. So it was a waiting game for the first week or so. And then on the second week, I tried again, no response yet. So I said, okay, we can't possibly just sit and wait anymore. We have to get a move on things. We need to figure out. I mean, our takeaway business was there, of course, not as per usual, but we had to get on to delivery. So there were a lot of people whom I knew who were also from the event industry, and they, you know, from photographers to MCs and all, who they can't work now, so they literally have nothing now, and they were to go into food delivery. So I contacted some of them, and thankfully one or two of my friends who, you know, they were really, really helpful, and you know, they came on board with us, and then they're doing the deliveries for us basically through their channels.
Some of those guys could be my friends.
Possibly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're doing. So we partnered with people, you know, who really had nothing at that point. They were just trying to scramble to make ends meet and want to move forward. So they're still doing our delivery for us, and we have come up with new dishes. We've gone onto Instagram, we've gone onto Facebook. We worked with NinjaOS to come up with an online delivery platform, and they were really helpful. They got things moving really quickly, so that we could have our own delivery and takeaway platform online. Of course, it also takes time because a lot of people still don't know about the fact that we have gone online and we're doing delivery and stuff. So it's every day trying to find new ways to reach out to people, you know, to keep in touch with people, and also to come up with new ideas that we can engage people with during these times. So one of our most recent thing was we've come up with the DIY dosa kit. So it, you know, you just order it.
Oh, you got it all ready there, yeah? Can we take a look at that? Can we take a look at that?
I gotta do a video for them after this. I got it all ready. So the dough comes like this. It's enough for about 6 dosas.
Okay.
And you get your condiments as well.
Okay.
So the condiments come cooked to make life a little bit easier. Yeah. And what happens is, so we're gonna upload videos on how you can do the batter, just pour out the batter, and how you can do it at home, and how you can include your kids. You know, it can be an activity with the children. You can do it via Zoom with friends, like a cooking party or something. So this is one of the things that we've come up with recently. So just trying to come up with new things, really.
And you said that professionally you're actually a photographer, right?
Yes. So I did the food photography, of course.
So you know what I think? A photographer is a person who uses a lot of a right brain. You're a creative person. Your parents did the right thing by getting you on board as their transformation agent. And you started thinking out of the box because you are the creative person. And I think that's marvelous. I think it's a great idea. As a matter of fact, I might just want to order that dosa. Looks pretty good, though. I mean, I think it's a great idea. It's amazing. Really. Thank you for sharing that. Michael, you know, if I may just pose this to you, the senior person in the industry here amongst us, what Aguirre said is something that is very commonplace, you know, ever since this whole conundrum started in the country. I have friends who run F&B outlets as well, and the one thing that comes out from them is the same thing as Aguirre said, and I really don't blame him. Landlords, man. What can one do, you know, I'm not saying that they're going to budge, but what can one do to make sure that they stay in business despite the fact that there has been no business to pay off rent? By your experience. I mean, you don't need to give us an exact answer. There's no need for that. But what are your thoughts? How will you handle that?
I think it's tricky. I think they have their own KPIs, and most of the landlords are corporate giants, and they have their own agendas. And you know, some of the people I've spoken to have said, look, it's a tough, you know, from their perspective, they say it's a hard time for us as well. But for them, a hard time is a bad report card at the end of the year. For independent businesses, a hard time is, you know, survival, right? So it's difficult. You know, they are not used to this type of thinking at the moment. Hopefully, the severity of the situation will change their minds. To me, if nothing changes, I would not be surprised if within the next 3 to 6 months, we see at least 30% of the F&B businesses in Singapore closing down, right? So what happens next? Rents get depressed, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't work out for them either. So I think they really need to think about this and have the sort of big picture perspective on things.
I agree with you because I've been scratching my head about this thing about rents and landlords, and my thoughts exactly what you just said. If businesses wind up, right, they're not going to get anything anyway. And there have been businesses who've been writing their respective landlords, telling them the same darn thing, but these guys are just simply not budging. I don't know. I'm just going to put it out here on this show, and I'm going to say it as it is. It's called bloody greed. I'm saying it because it's true. And I'm not going to say it's the government's fault. Definitely not. I'm not going to go there because it is about meritocracy. It is about, the economy. They can't seem to be taking sides either. So I don't know. Could it be that maybe as an association, you guys bind together and press harder? I don't know. But one thing is for sure, it's not going to help anyone. And I completely agree. I completely agree with this because, look, man, outlets close down, businesses close down. You're going to be squat anyway. You're going to see zilch, zip, nada. So what's the point? And Agir, I feel you, man. I mean, and I'm sure, Michael, you're going through the same conundrum too, right? Yeah. But you said something just now about having virtual DJs. And yeah, my DJ friends have been doing virtual shows and stuff like that, Recently, I mean, on our first episode, we were talking about the Star Show. I also performed for that show, the first virtual show, entertainment show in Singapore. It was 2 weeks ago, Saturday, or Labor Day. And I sang on that show, and there were magic shows and stuff and all that. I think it was pretty cool. People, that sector is trying to innovate, right? But you're right. We were talking about, we have to get back on stage. There's nothing like it. Having an audience, a couple of hundred people, 1,000 people, thousands in front of you. Oh man, the euphoria, And yeah, your customers feel the same way. But it's strange for customers to ask you, hey, when can we come back and hold a birthday party? How would you know? You're not the authority, right? And really, I mean, it doesn't make sense. But I don't know. For someone like in your business, nightlife as well, right? Besides chimneys and chimichangas, are you in the nightlife scene? It seems to me you have a nightlife scene as well that you're involved in. May I ask what that is?
Get Juice, the discotheque.
Okay, Get Juice. Okay, so Get Juice is actually a club, right? Yeah. Sorry, me, old man, don't really get it these days. Okay, so it's Michael, really, man, I'm not that young. Okay, that was an inside joke, viewers. You don't get it, never mind, it's all right. Now, the thing is that, Michael, what do you think? For someone like Agir, for his night scene, anyone else can also jump in, please do. How do you think, in your own minds, that for him, see, like yours is cocktails, you know what I mean? You're not a club, partying club, pumping music, it's booze. So yes, it's great to be able to innovate that way using your cocktails and sending out a delivery. But for someone like Agir, for his night for the club, what do you think? What can he do off the top of your head and with maybe your experience as well?
Hello, hello again. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
When he mentioned about virtual DJs, instantly I was thinking maybe after this I just want to have a chat with him. Well, if they're doing the virtual DJs parties, maybe he can collaborate with us, and we can send like bottle cocktails with the virtual DJ party. So while they are listening to the music, our cocktails can kick in, and they can have a good time. I mean, like, that's one thing I was thinking at this point of time. Is about partnering with different ventures and businesses.
I love that. Hold on to that thought, man. I'll have to cut you in here.
Yes.
Asha, what do you think?
No, I think that's the thing. It's just collaborating, like you may said, and trying to find people to partner up with and come up with packages that people can have a good experience at home. Like, you know, for me, like I'm a mom, you know, you've got the kids at home the whole day now, okay? And when they go to bed, you're like, oh, okay, let's do a Zoom party with our friends or something, you know,
Tell me about it, man.
Something like that, you know? So ideas like that might, you know, when you collaborate and come up with something like, you can say like a virtual DJ with some cocktails, and maybe I can throw in some food, you know, something like that, like a package deal, and everyone gets a wholesome experience. And they don't have to do much work for it. I think that's the other thing. They want to do the least amount of work for it after a long day at work or managing their children. That will be the best way to go about it, collaboration.
Okay. Michael, what do you think? What's your thoughts?
I think definitely collaboration is key at this time, but I think that, in my opinion, it's going to be a long time. This is not a short time. This situation is not going to go away anytime soon, and I really don't see nightlife coming back soon. You know, in the near future. Unfortunately, I'm just speaking my mind. And I want to be clear so that we have no misconceptions. I really think that, and I say this to some of my students because I teach at SMU, the F&B entrepreneurship program, that you really need to think about things. I think all of us need to pivot and pivot hard, right? And a pivot is not just tweaking your business. At this time, the pivot needs to be it may need to be complete re-examination of the core of your business, the core of your team and yourself. What are you best at, right? And what can you offer in this new economy? It is a new economy.
It is.
And it is not changing. We know this, right? So whether you're in the clubbing business, and again, I have students in that, and we've been talking about this, or whether you're in the CBD area doing food, again, that dynamics is different, has changed and will stay that way. You know, I think all of us need to re-examine our strengths and then to refigure how to compete now in this new space. And one of the things that I've also spoken about is the fact that when we talk about delivery, and all of us, I think all of you are looking at delivery. Delivery in the past, well, your restaurant in the past may be successful for various reasons, your proximity to offices, proximity to residences and all that. But once you're online and you're delivering island-wide, you're competing with everybody else. You're not competing with people near you, right? So if your food used to be good enough at this price point and you're successful, today you're competing with every single restaurant in your segment, right? So whether you're an Indian restaurant or a burger restaurant or whatever, because everyone can now deliver nationwide, you have to step up your game. And you have to give people a reason why they should order your food or your drinks. I think this is something to think about.
Yes, Michael, you know, it's interesting you're talking about, there are a couple of key phrases you guys have been using. But let me talk about this, the delivery business. As it is, about 2 hours ago, before we started the show, there was a breaking news that came out. I don't know if you guys caught it. Food container suppliers are now having issues. Okay, because definitely globally there's supply chain disruption, right? And the demand is so high, also because of the migrant workers' situation in dormitories, food's being packed for them. They're really running short of food containers. They're trying to keep up with the demand. So that's also quite an issue to contend with. But there have been businesses, you know, I mean, I've read one or two interesting stuff. I don't know how true one is. I'm just going to talk about that. The cone of silence dining, you know, for those restaurant owners, where you have this cone, glass transparent cone, come down to your seat and you're eating and your friends are also in these cones, right? So it keeps your social distancing going. But one that really did occur, and as we speak, the glass house dining in Amsterdam, in Holland. And there are separate glass houses, maybe 4 persons or 2 persons to a place, right? To a glass house, and where diners are in there and dining. So some people have come up with their own ideas. I think it's time for innovation, because I completely agree on the term, and I use the same exact term, Michael. I stand on 2 separate industries. I'm a business person as well. And I've said this before in my meetings, that we are now entering yet again into a new economy, right? And this new economy would require people of absolute resilience against the odds, right? And I meant what I said earlier, though it was a joke with Michael. For the viewers who don't know this, we were just talking that I'm glad that there's a young person like Michael. It gives me hope for, as an old person, that, you know, the future still looks kind of bright. It was a joke. I'm not saying you're old either, Michael, but I am going to say this. I think for guys like Michael and myself, right, we are hopeful that the younger lot pick this up. It is very important for me as I get older to see that the younger generation actually be resilient enough to get us all through and build this new economy. I completely agree. And you know, one thing that can never go wrong is the very fact that human collaboration is always the best idea. You know, and Agir, you're talking about, you know, virtual DJs, Asha, also you're talking about that as well. Let's party, you know, though it's virtual. You know, I've had people with me who were doing physical board gaming, you know, and they got the biggest following in Singapore. People who really love the old board games. And then when this thing hit, what did they do? They went virtual board gaming. And you know what? They got more people coming on board now. It is really about embracing new normals here. So my right brain going crazy. Can you imagine, Agir, if your establishment organizes a party, real big party, virtually, you know, and maybe big screens would come and be delivered, I don't know, right? And then booze gets delivered by Yugnes. And then you have the DIY dosa coming in. And then you have a party organized by the main event organizer. That's you guys, Agir. You know, I don't know. It could work because these are the new normals. How someone creates the atmosphere and background is entirely up to you guys. It could be an AVL setup that is portable. People just push it there and they set up and leave. I don't know whether it's after circuit breaker. I'm pretty sure that people can still come in, set things up and leave. You know what I mean? It can happen. Right? I mean, you got aircon servicing guys who can still come into your homes to service your AC, you know, so you can still set up pro audio, for example, in a home, right? Catering can still happen via delivery, and how these people want to set up their own party place in their own homes is entirely up to them, right? So, you know, and then you have multiple setups. So it's going to be a collaboration of a lot of things, of people coming together. That's what I see. It's how I see it. And the interesting part is, can you imagine, in the past when you have a physical event, like for example, a wedding, and there's an old auntie living in Canada who can't make it to your wedding party, but now they can. Even post-circuit breaker, even the day when events will be allowed again. Now I'm saying positive here because why? Look guys, don't you have faith that eventually someone's going to invent a vaccine or develop a vaccine? You know, don't look very positive to me, man, because I think it will happen. What's wrong with you? Come on. Everyone thought before TB will never go away. It did, right? Right? I mean, malaria will never go away, but it did, right? So have some faith, people. Come on. You know, this thing is going to be a dent in our system for just a while. So we have to be patient and have some faith, right? So let me just ask you guys, any more new plans you have moving forward? Michael, what do you think? What are you planning for? You know, post-circuit breaker, or even post-COVID?
Well, I'm the perennial entrepreneur, so I recently launched a new platform, online platform, and I'm actually working on about 3 or 4 new businesses as well as we speak. I really think that this time of opportunity, unfortunately, it is also a time of crisis, of course, and in time of crisis, there are opportunities. I as I mentioned earlier, I too have businesses that is, you know, severely impacted, and I will stand to lose a lot of money from these. But there's no point, no reason to just think about that. It's really to think about what we can do now and what else, where are the opportunities. And I'm pushing forward, and I encourage everyone to think this. And I think that clearly, even for my students who are in the F&B space, there are people who want to enter the business. And I really think that in the next few months, in sort of like, in my mind, August, September, October onwards, perfect time to enter the business, really. If you've got the sort of fortitude, right? It is really a good time to enter the business because there will be a lot more spaces. There'll be places available for takeover for next to nothing or nothing, literally, and manpower will be easier. Everyone talks about it, the fact that in Singapore, you cannot find staff. It's not about how much money you have, you just cannot find staff. And honestly, in the next few months, I think you will be able to find staff, right? So if you have a good idea that works with the current new economy, really, this is a really, really good time, right? So clearly, we have things we need to deal with and sort out for all of our businesses. But while we do that, we should also keep an eye open for new opportunities. That's my 2 cents.
Oh, well, that was more valuable than 2 cents, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, really good advice. And it's great to say this positive. They're even encouraging people to come into the business, later on, maybe the last quarter of this year. Like, for example, I've got friends in the ticketing business who've told me that even for events, right, they're looking at July 2021. Yeah. But we can't sit in our hands waiting for these moments to happen, right? Instead, we make moments happen. I think that's great. Ashta, what are your plans? Really, any more big ideas coming up for your business, your family business?
The most recent one. We're hoping we're going to try this out and see how this goes, and then we've got a few other plans, sort of in this same category of DIY. I think the one good thing in Singapore is that the culture of eating out, getting takeout, delivering food and everything is something that has already been there. People generally in Singapore, we eat out a lot, right? It's not that we always cook at home. So that's one good thing. So people, I think, will continue to support a lot of F&Bs. I know it'll be difficult as well, with their job issues and everything. But the good thing is that because that is there, as long as we can keep coming up with our innovative ideas to keep them engaged and enjoy a good meal or a drink at home, then there is hope,
There's always hope. But yeah. Asha, haven't you ever considered, the home-based businesses? Mm-hmm. Why don't you think maybe expansion can happen a lot more easily now by collaborating with home-based businesses?
Yeah.
Right? Don't you think that's a good idea? Yeah. When you have different networks or satellite businesses that can come together and do something more and even bigger. I think that's a good idea, because on our main show, in our humble opinion, we've been talking about that support home-based business. Because these poor guys, really, for some, they bring it because they need to survive, and they were stopped for a while, remember, and only just restarted again on May the 12th. So it could be a good idea for established F&B businesses like you guys to maybe even collaborate with home-based businesses if you can get in touch with them. Yeah. So Yugnes, what about you? What are any big ideas, big plans moving forward post circuit breaker?
Actually, right now, we are actually resetting a couple of stuff. I'm actually re-looking into our vision and our goals as well, and see how. I totally agree on what Michael has been saying. Actually, we actually texted before a long time ago. So whatever he was saying was all like nail on the head, and economy and everything. So I come from a point where I think of the worst case scenarios, what could possibly happen. And at this point of time, every day we are re-looking into the brand, to the business, and how are we going to be in the next few months actually. So one thing that I'm looking into, if this delivery is going to be a permanent thing, how are we going to be the best at it? That's one of the things that we are looking at actually.
I like you, man. Yeah. I like you. I love the way your thought process is. It's amazing. It's so good. I really, really enjoy that. Really, thank you.
Yeah.
Agir, any big ideas moving forward?
Okay. I think what wasn't addressed. I would like to go back to actually landlords again, right? I think the biggest issue. I mean, and I might be wrong, but this is just my opinion. I think the biggest issue that we face is there's always demand. There's always pent-up demand. That's the problem we face when we meet landlords. You walk into a space and you look at the space and you're like, this is a great place. I think if my rent was $10,000, I can survive. And you go to the landlord's like, look, I want 25. And you tell the landlord, hey bro, no way you're gonna get 25 lah. That's crazy. Give it to me. I'm your tenant. I'll make it work. I'll be here a long time. But the problem is, right, there's always another chap
Yes.
that believes that he can pay 30,000, make it work, and then he comes, the landlord takes his deposit, he dies, and now the rent is actually set at a higher level because the next time you run into the landlord's like, someone paid 30,000 for that space. It's all about new concepts. It's all about how you market your space. And the problem is there's so much push for entrepreneurship, right? There's almost false bravado where people all come in and they do their math wrongly and they believe they can do this. So you can tell the landlord to F off all you want, but the reality is there's always going to be demand, right? And so we can think of all the ideas, but even like the biggest problem we are having with home delivery is currently there's a race to the bottom with prices. Because even this is a classic example. You're like, okay, I'll do $5 delivery charge. And now there are restaurants doing no delivery charge. And tomorrow there'll be another restaurant that's doing it at half the price. Because although you are trying to make a profit, there might be another chap that's just trying to survive. And that race to the bottom is good for the consumer in general, but a lot of people just get knocked off their horses before there's even a finish line.
See where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. Not that I don't.
Yeah.
So the thing is that can the F&B industry? I mean, the way I'm hearing this is as if there isn't sufficient unity as a sector.
I think legislation should come in further. I mean, so far the legislation where you cannot sue your tenant, right, or kick them out, has been very powerful because I've seen people go like, okay lah, I won't pay rent, you charge me interest lah until the end of the year. And then the landlord's like, okay, look, I reduce the rent a bit, then you pay a rent. So I think if the government steps in and takes a look at tenancy agreements, I mean, this is just my theory, and creates more fair, in the States, there's rent control areas. So if there's something similar where the government comes in and says, look, more fair tenancy agreements, then I think you will level the playing field with big boys. Because when you go up against like CapitaLand, right, there's very little you can do to negotiate, right? They're huge, right? And you can't, and you go like, okay, I won't pay my $100,000 rent. But when you're making millions a month, right, you'll be like, okay, fine, we'll keep the unit empty for the next 9 months. We're fine. And then someone else will come and pay 150,000 rental when times are good. So I think if legislation comes in, protects F&B, and protect leases, then I think it would be probably more viable in the future.
Okay, thank you, Agir. Guys, what do you think about what he just said? Do you think legislation should happen? Would that be an ideal for most businesses in the F&B sector? As a matter of fact, no. What he just said is actually most businesses, as long as they got a physical premise being rented, right? So, what do you think? Oh wow, thinking caps are either going on or this. The floor is open, people. Last topic before I outro the show.
Sorry.
Guys
to comment maybe.
Ignace, you want to say anything about what Agir had just suggested? Legislation over tenancy agreements.
I mean, I can totally agree on what he says, the pain and the another guy coming in and all, but it also depends on the individual landlord, I would say as well, because for my case, I'm pretty fortunate. I have a very understanding landlord. But for what he's going through, I don't know. It's a 50-50 thing. I would say, yeah.
Okay. 50-50 as in maybe it would work, maybe it won't work, is it?
Yeah, that's the thing, yeah.
Okay. Ashna, what do you think?
I think, yeah, something like that can possibly be done, but I think it would be good to start a discussion on it, get more views and see if it's something that could work, then why not? Yeah. I think people should come together and talk more about it.
That's what I'm thinking. Michael, what do you think, Michael? If you come up with any thoughts yet?
Well, no, I mean, for me, it's really about the fact that for too long, this is been something that's been around for a long, long time. Tenancy agreements in Singapore are one-sided, extremely one-sided. Particularly when you talk about the major landlords, you don't even have a chance to negotiate your lease agreements. I think any one of us who have had to deal with one of the big guys, I think Eunice is lucky to have an independent landlord. Independent landlords tend to be more understanding. The corporates, and I won't name names, the big guys, you don't have
we know who they are, yeah.
You don't have a chance to negotiate. They would tell you that this contract is a standard contract. There was a case that we were working with. We were consulting for a business, a brand from Switzerland. The owner took a space, and the landlord said, "Look, there is a redevelopment clause. We are able to kick you out anytime within 6 months if we want to redevelop the building." Right? So they were really apprehensive, and I said, "Well, this is not fair." Right? Obviously, you sign a lease, you put in. In that case, they put in about $3 million in investment. The landlord said, "Yeah, we just renovated. It's not unlikely to happen," verbally. 1 year later, they, decided to redevelop the entire hotel, and this guy lost about $4 million because there was a clause. And unfortunately, in Singapore, you don't get a chance to negotiate your lease agreements much, or if at all, frankly. So I think there are people pushing for change for fairer tenancy legislation. There was an article just, 15th, today, in the Business Times.
Right.
About, I just posted the link to, that businesses are pushing for fairer tenancy legislation. So what Agir is saying is correct. I mean, there needs to be a change. On the other hand, there's also an issue of demand and supply. If there are always people willing to put another dollar more than you, it is up to the market, right? Unfortunately, you really cannot
stop market forces.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's also another conundrum businesses are in, and I feel you, Agir, I really do, and I hear you, because I think what you said is fair. It is, and I think unity would be better, so voices are heard, right? And then hopefully we can be a catalyst for change. Now, that's about almost all the time we've got for the show. But before we close, can I just ask? Just take this opportunity, guys. Do a shameless plug, please, and just put it out there, for everyone who's watching, about the name of your business, and put in your slogan, your tagline, come order from us and all that. Okay, take about 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're first, Ashta.
Okay, so we have Madras New Woodlands Restaurant. It's a family-run business, so pretty much I've grown up in that industry, and we're hoping that we can serve you guys through this time as well. And we appreciate all your support. And we've come up with some great ideas like the DIY dosa kit and some new dishes for you to try. So go ahead and please order yours on www.madrasnewwoodlandssg.com. Thank you.
Yay! Okay. Eunice.
Hey guys, I'm Ignis. Well, we the Elephant Room has been doing deliveries and takeaways for 7 days a week. So if you like looking for bottled cocktails and some foods to go along with, just place your orders along our website www.elephantroom.sg. We will
All
personally.
right. Elephant Room. Okay. Agir.
Yeah, so we're doing Mexican food delivered 7 days a week till 2 a.m. daily. So log on to www.chimichanga.sg. It's island-wide for $5. So just go on and order Mexican food.
Arriba, chimichangas, and Michael.
Well, I do too many things, but I think one of the things that I do is the Orientalist Spirits. It's the first truly Pan-Asian spirits business. We have a vodka, a gin, and a whiskey. And I also F&B entrepreneurship at SMU. So if you are really looking for some guidance, I really encourage you to look at that. It's not what I say, but I really am fortunate to have many industry veterans who help out and come in and talk, during that course. So I think it's quite useful.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here with me as my Kopi Kakis for this episode of Kopi with Chris. Thank you viewers, listeners, for also joining me for the show. Join me again for the next Kopi with Chris. Do also remember to like, share, and subscribe. And although the barbershops have opened, if you have no hair, please stay home. Until next time, I'm Chris Henson, and this was Kopi with Chris. Bye, everybody. Stay safe.